You know that feeling, right? One day your phone is blazing fast, and the next it's just struggling. It stutters, it lags, and you have no idea why. So, what is actually going on?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? In this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain and show you the real reasons your phone's performance just falls off a cliff. And trust me, it's probably not what you think.
And it always starts with this, doesn't it? That awful stutter when you're just trying to scroll through your social feed or a website. It literally feels like your phone is fighting you with every single swipe. So frustrating.
And then, of course, there's this nightmare. You tap an icon and you wait. Nothing happens. So you tap it again, and maybe, just maybe, it finally decides to open. All of a sudden, the most basic things become a real test of your patience. But here's what really gets me, and probably you too. You look at the specs. You've got a great processor, tons of RAM, plenty of storage space. I mean, on paper, this thing should be an absolute rocket ship. So what gives? All right, so let's get right into it and start with one of the biggest but most invisible culprits behind that sudden slowdown. It's happening inside your phone's memory as we speak. Okay, so here's a concept you've got to understand: RAM fragmentation. Your phone's RAM doesn't just fill up nice and neat like a glass of water. Nope, it gets messy. Think of it like a bookshelf where you've pulled books out from all over, leaving lots of little gaps. But none of those gaps are big enough to fit a new book. That is exactly what's happening inside your phone. And this right here, this visualizes the problem perfectly. See? Your phone might say you have plenty of free RAM, but if all that free space is smashed into thousands of tiny little unusable pieces, a new app can't find one solid block of memory to run in. And that right there is what causes those sudden, infuriating lag spikes. But believe it or not, there's a ridiculously simple fix. When you restart your phone, poof, you're basically wiping that messy slate clean. All that fragmentation just vanishes. Honestly, it is the single best way to make your phone feel brand new again. Okay, so a restart is a great band-aid, but it's not a permanent cure. And why is that? Well, it's because you've got these silent assassins working in the background, ready to slow your phone right back down again. Yeah, I'm talking about these guys. We all use them. And you might swipe them closed, but they're not really closed. They're still lurking in the background, checking for notifications, updating your location, preloading your feed. All that convenience, it comes at a price. And this really gets to the heart of it. Your phone's processor is just constantly being poked and prodded by all these background tasks. It's working, even when it's just sitting in your pocket. And that's why you get that random, unpredictable lag all day long. Okay, so we've talked software, but that's not the whole story. Not even close. We've got to talk about the physical stuff, too. Heat, weird system glitches, and all the digital grime that just builds up over time.
Ever heard of the system cache? It sounds super technical, but just think of it like your phone's short-term memory for the operating system. It holds on to temporary files to make things feel fast. But over time, especially after an update, that cache can get clogged up with old, corrupted junk. This digital clutter is the reason you see those choppy animations and frozen apps.
All right, now this is a big one. Thermal throttling. This is literally your phone going into self-defense mode. When it starts to get too hot, it intentionally slams the brakes on the processor to cool down. It's a safety feature, sure, but the side effect is a massive, massive hit to your phone's performance. And I love this quote because it just says it all, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if you spent a fortune on your phone. When it overheats, its performance tanks. It can actually become slower than a cheap budget phone. Heat is the great equalizer. So what's causing all this heat? Well, it's the stuff you do every day. Heavy gaming, getting lost in a TikTok rabbit hole for an hour, charging your phone, or even just leaving it out in the sun for a few minutes. All these things can trigger that thermal throttling and bring your phone to a crawl. Software updates. We get all excited for the new features, right? But they can be a total double-edged sword. Sometimes these updates are just not optimized. They can lead to broken animations, make the CPU work harder, and even slow down how fast your phone can access its own storage. So yeah, that lag you feel right after an update, it is definitely not in your head. And think about this for a second. An app that has permission to use your camera, your microphone, your location, it's always on high alert, just waiting to be used. This constant listening in the background sips away at your processor's power, creating this slow, steady performance drain. So, we've laid out all the problems. Now for the good part, the most important part, the solutions. Here is a clear step-by-step checklist to take back control and get your phone's speed back. And listen, we are not talking about some tiny, barely noticeable improvement here. If you follow these steps, you can realistically get back over half of your phone's lost performance. I mean, we're talking a 50 to 70% boost. That's a total game changer. Okay, you ready? Let's run through the checklist. First, restart your phone daily. That is your #1 weapon against RAM fragmentation. It cleans up that messy bookshelf. Second, clear your app cache weekly to get rid of all that digital grime. Third, be ruthless. Delete any apps you don't actually use. They could be the ones slowing you down from the background. Fourth, disable background refresh for apps that don't need it. Fifth, be smart about heat. Try not to game while you're charging and don't leave your phone in a hot car. And finally, go into your settings and start limiting those permissions. Stop letting apps listen in when they don't have to. Look, here's the biggest takeaway from all of this. I really want you to get this. Your phone isn't slow because it's old. It's slow because all these little things are creating bottlenecks and blocking its true power. If you clear out the roadblocks, you unleash the speed. So now you know the secrets. You know why your phone slows down. And more importantly, you know how to fight back. That power, that speed, it's not gone. It's just been locked away. The only question left is, are you ready to set it free?